Hey guys, it's Latham. Today's episode is all about noise and its role in predator hunting grounds. If you watched my previous video detailing the effects of mud, you are now equipped to better avoid the predator's vision and go unseen. But the predator has another trick up his sleeve, and that is his ability to hone in on noise. Most things in the game that produce noise will produce a noise bubble that the predator can see through his infrared vision. He can then use this to track down your location, and even if you're covered in mud and trying to sneak around the map. So let's break down the different aspects of noise, see what we can find. We'll go over weapons and gear and the different noise levels. We'll see how the perks affect noise and noise bubbles, and we'll go over how the AI handles the noise. We're starting off here. The right picture is the fire team member and the left is the predator. This is the max distance for noise bubbles. And in all my testing, this is true with every weapon. Anything past this point will not produce noise bubbles. To demonstrate, I'll start by firing a shot. You'll notice that no bubbles appear on the predator's screen. But if I move up to the top of the stairs, the noise bubbles appear. A lot of you are going to be disappointed, but every weapon can be heard up to this range, and the range is practically map wide. Even the pistols with only 2 tabs of noise can be heard at this range. Now let's look at suppressors. The good news is they actually work. In fact, they work very well. It's not until you are fairly close that the noise bubbles start to appear, which at this point the shots also become audible to the predator, and it just so happens to be the same distance as the target acquisition feature. But we'll go into detail about that in a later video. Now just to sum it up, every weapon equipped with a suppressor begins to create noise bubbles at this same distance. Basically, the measurement of noise, as indicated on the weapon stats, has absolutely no effect in the game. They all have the same max range. The only thing that changes it is if a suppressor is equipped. Now I did find a few things that I found interesting during testing. Number 1, the grenade launcher actually produces a noise bubble at the player and where the grenade explodes, which I found interesting considering a thrown grenade does not produce a noise bubble, and neither do flashbangs. I also tested to see if reloading would show any indicators, and they do not. In fact, I was surprised to notice that the predator doesn't hear the reload sounds at all. Now, I'm not sure if this is just a bug, but here in this clip you can see from previous footage that you could hear the reload sounds, and in this particular instance the LMG was quite loud from the distance I was at. But the biggest surprise was to find out that the minigun does not produce noise bubbles at all. Now I'm sure this is a bug and will be fixed soon, but it's still handy to know in the meantime. Now what about the perks? Well, there are 2 that specifically say they affect the noise bubbles, and those are the Fire Team perk Silent and the Predator perk Spectral Awareness. And after testing, they do absolutely nothing. The bubbles are the same size and they appear at the same distances. So to sum up the weapons, they produce noise bubbles pretty much across the entire map unless you equip a suppressor, at which point the range is dropped to about the same size as your minimap. Now let's look at the gadget Noisemaker. I was really surprised to realize that the Noisemaker actually produces the sound effect as your primary weapon. So if you have the 50 cal sniper as your primary, then the Noisemaker will make the sounds of a 50 cal. And the same is true for the LMG, assault rifles, and funny enough, the grenade launcher. Now there is an exception, and that is if you equip a suppressor to your primary weapon. If you do, it replaces the sound effect with random gunfire. Sounds like this. Also, the range of the Noisemaker effect, or the bubbles it produces, are capped at the same distance that your weapon with the suppressor has. Here you can see, once I move the predator back, you'll notice the Noisemaker and the fire team members' noise bubbles both stop showing up. So, noisemakers don't go well with suppressed primary weapons. Alright, so we have gone over the weapons and gadgets. What about the callouts and the vocal mimicry the players can use? To start, the Predator's vocal mimicry is map wide. Here I am using it at the spawn point, opposite side of the map as the fire team, and the fire team is still hearing it crystal clear. Now it is not the same for the roar, but all of the human speech lines are map wide. Now it is completely different for the fire team callouts though. When they call out, it is a much shorter distance, but it is further than sounds of suppressed gunfire, and the fire team callouts do not produce noise bubbles. Now I tried to pin down the max distance that the Predator, ambient noise could be heard. By ambient, I mean his ticking and rumbling noises he makes when near the fire team. And after messing with it for a while, it seems to be just over the distance of the minimap. Also in testing, cloaking was relatively quiet, but decloaking is very loud. And it is opposite for infrared vision. Turning it on is loud, but turning it off is quiet. In fact, if you activate infrared vision or deactivate the cloaking around the fire team members, they absolutely can hear it. But to go back to the ticking sounds the Predator makes, he seems to primarily make them when near the fire team. This is also a strong indicator for the fire team that the Predator has found you. So what about the AI? How do they handle noise? Well, to start, they do not interact with callouts at all. And they could care less about the noisemaker grenade. But if you fire your weapon and it is not suppressed, they're going to come running. Gunfire does draw their attention and they will head directly to where you was when you shot. If you are still there, they will engage in combat. When they move to the location of the shot and you are no longer there and you are out of line of sight, then they will generally just stand there confused. But sometimes they will continue looking around the area to try and find you. And I think that's just about covers everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Next we'll be going into detail about the Predator and all of his abilities. And a sneak peek about the upcoming Predator video. I bet most of you didn't realize the Predator has a mini-map. So stay tuned to find out how it works, as well as a few other features the Predator has. Thanks for watching.